Before we get started, anyone interested in ordering Mr. Lindell's 4-CD set, go to metaphysicalarttheater.com. For those in the U.S., you can order physical copies or the digital downloads. For those outside the U.S., you can order the digital downloads by going to metaphysicalarttheater.com.
How you doing, sir?
It's fine, thank you.
Yeah,
I know you're doing fine. Okay.
I'm laughing because if they could only know what we just gone through trying to get us up online and so forth. So, but it's good to talk to you. Um, thinking about what I was going to talk about today is actually perfect. I just want to say, you got this. And I'm saying it to you and I'm saying it to the listener. You got this. Is that correct?
Oh, you got this. That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. That's all you have to do. Just be still and know. That's all.
Yeah.
It's so simple, but yet it's.
And like you said, it's so simple. But let's talk about, because I think that everybody complicates this stuff, and everybody wants personal interviews and everything else, but they're doing it every day, moment by moment.
Yeah, actually, that was my problem. Yeah, and it really hung with me for a long time because I didn't really understand the process that I'm sharing with them right now. That you can change your mind, and if you can change your mind, you can change your world. So it's you focusing on what it is that you want, because I find out that most people, they really don't know what they want. I mean, I've asked them, could you, in a few words, could you tell me what you want? And they go, well, what do you mean? Well, I don't know. See, the thing of it is, they really don't know what they want, but yet they're waiting for what? What are they waiting for?
Yeah.
See, I did that. I didn't know what I was waiting for.
Yeah.
You did that, I'll bet you, and you didn't know what you was waiting for.
Yeah.
But you knew when you heard it.
Yeah.
See, that was it. Because if people say, "Oh, I heard something," but do you open it and quicken it? If you let it go for even a few moments, man, it's gone. I did that 1,000 times, it seems like.
Yeah.
But it just takes focus. That's it, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Because, like I said, what has your attention has your life. So, how important is your life? Isn't that what it is?
It is.
Yeah, aren't you? Isn't that the question? How important is your life?
Yeah.
And not just the life, but enjoying the life.
Yeah.
Because yeah, well, just being around. Come on, that's not enough.
Yeah.
And that's what people's problem is. They're not really enjoying life, and they don't realize that's a depression sort of a thing that'll hang with you as long as you keep that train of thought.
Yeah.
Let it go. Wasn't that the whole lecture before? Let it go, let go, and let God. Absolutely. I mean, if you can't do it, he sure can. He sure can. And you are actually in the act of praying ceaselessly. Ceaselessly. You get that word? It's complicated because these one-liners are mixed in with the stories.
Yeah.
And people get carried away with the stories. And they are stories. See, it doesn't even matter if it even happened or not. If they're stories, and the message that you're looking for, or you should be, it's you. That's the message. You. That's the whole message. Is you. What are you doing? What are you feeling? What are you thinking? You're always being delivered into your own inequities. Understand, they're your own inequities because they themselves are makers of themselves. That's the story, isn't it?
It is the story. You ask the question, what is it that you're doing? You said something. You said, let go and let God. That's really a mouthful, especially when we're not accustomed to letting God. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yeah, I understand that all right, and I'm sure he does too. In other words, he'd like to just say, "Shut up," but he says it nicely. Be still and know that I'm God. Yeah, well, I get told off when I come in like a hammerman, but you're only saying that because you realize you heard the truth,
Yeah.
and you kind of shy away from the truth because it kind of lets you condemn yourself, and that's the one thing you're told not to do. Blessed is the man that does not condemn himself for that which he has allowed. So you're off the hook right there. Stop it. Turn around. You turn to me, I'll turn to you, God says. I mean, with an invitation like that hanging over you, what are you waiting for? I mean, he's no respecter of person, so who you are at the moment is not a rejection,
Yeah.
unless you reject yourself, and that's what you're told not to do, because you're the only one judging here. He gave you judgment. He gave you choice. First, choose what. I don't know what. What do you want? I don't even need to know what you. I don't even need to know you. I'm telling you that it's your choice. Make a good one, wouldn't you say?
I would say, you said, listen, it's the individual that's condemning themselves, but we're told not to condemn ourselves. Blessed is the person that does not condemn themselves. And, you know, when we talk about one of the things you said was uh, it's the individual choosing. The challenge comes in when you spoke about truth. The challenge comes in when they hear truth is the undertone in the back of the mind says responsibility. And so a person hears responsibility, they hear judgment. That's not what we're doing. And that's not what spirit's doing. But they've been given truth. And like I said, now there's an accountability to answer to that truth for themselves.
Yeah, well, we are always telling them go sit in the silence,
Yeah.
because that's where you're going to find that magic you're looking for, in the silence. He says, "Be still and know that I'm God." What else do you need? I mean, there it is. You turn to me, I'll turn to you. What are you waiting for? See, I understand the waiting because I did that. I know you did too.
Yeah. Yeah.
You waiting for what? Like like a cloud burst and strike down from heaven or something. But it's not like that at all. It's just you're remembering. What did God leave himself? A remembrancer. To remember. It's God who has to remember who he is. But that's you letting him do his thing and you shut up. Come on. This is all about the individual.
Yeah.
There's only one of us. There's only God.
Yeah.
Isn't that what we're told? There's only God.
Yeah.
He does all things. He is all things to all.
You you said something that was very heavy, and I think it's going to be difficult sometimes to digest. But you said to remember the reason why you go into the silence, because I know that's a lot of people's questions right now. What do I do in the silence? And you gave the answer, so I want to clarify so that they can understand what was given to them. You told them to go into the silence and remember. You said, now who's the rememberer? It's God remembering, but understand this, listener. It's God remembering that she's you. When you go into the silence, you begin to remember who you are. This is your story. no matter what we're talking about in these talks, we're really talking to you, the individual listener. This is your message for you. God is awakening himself in you as you.
That's it. And we only have one question. Did you choose the part you're playing? You see, you're given choice. Choose this day. You're given choice, and you are choosing whether you're aware you're choosing or not. So that it seems like a surprise if you don't remember. And that's what it's all about. He left himself a remembrancer, a comforter. See, he's there to comfort you in your learning, because that's what we're all doing, remembering.
Yeah,
Isn't remembering learning?
it is.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to clarify that because otherwise I'll hear about it.
Well, learning and sometimes unlearning some things that we need to unlearn.
Well, if you understand that you were given, and when I say given, this is already a given. Choose what? That's the question. What do you want? What is it you feel that you need? And you're told that all the help you need to succeed in whatever you're trying to succeed at is all in self. All you have to do is just sort it out in your thinking and feeling, because your thinking and feeling is what you are experiencing day after day after day. But if you don't connect it to your thinking ahead of your evidence, then you're just lost in thought. I mean, you can call it all sorts of things, but it's just lost in thought. And we do get lost in thought. All of it. I do. I get lost in thought sometimes, and I'm going, hey, what is this? What is this? Where'd you come up with that at? You see, if you don't want to experience it in your world, don't sit and think about it. Don't mention it at all. Because you know something? Once you say it, it only takes a few seconds to start drawing to it other ideas in connection with that idea. And it'll bloom out so quickly that that's what it means to be in the world, but not to be of the world. You get caught up in what's going on outside of you, and then you lose what you're doing inside of you. And what you're doing inside of you, if you don't know, then it's all a surprise.
Yeah, absolutely.
And what a surprise. The thing of it is, if we can just talk people into listening to what we're saying long enough to actually sit down and actually try it. I don't like the word try because I used it, but it says do a thing. It doesn't say try in scripture. It says do a thing. In other words, he's assuming, this is God assuming you can do it. Yeah. So if you can assume that you can do it, then it will relax you in a way you've never been relaxed before. Just saying, I am that. Because what else? What else is there to say? I am that. You are what you're saying. As a man thinketh in his heart, and that's his feeling nature, so is he, so does he, so has he. That gives you the whole story, doesn't it?
It does. You said that God is assuming that they're going to do what they need to do. So the only thing they need to do is agree with God and also assume that they're going to do what it is that they've agreed to themselves that they're going to do.
When people go to church, they're not expecting to be answered. See, because that is what they get. Exactly what they expected, not to be answered in positive.
Yeah.
I mean, so stay home and get that straight in your head first. That what you're asking for, that's the thought behind the thought. Because I remember Neville saying that one time. And I thought about that for a long time. The thought behind the thought. You see, that's the duality you have to do away with to be single. And that's what we want to be, is single-minded. Because the double-minded state, you don't accomplish anything. One minute you're on your side, and the next minute you're on whose side. You don't even know. So it's the focus on you first, because like, what did you always say about the oxygen? You know,
Absolutely. Put on your own oxygen mask first.
yeah. See, because if you die, it didn't help anybody.
Yeah.
In this way, you can help, and if you don't do that, that's your responsibility to be helpful. And I assume that everybody is naturally, if they're aware, to do so. And that's what it is, just being aware of what you're doing. And I mean, it sounds simple, but you know, once you start tracking yourself, you wonder how you ever got anything done.
Yeah.
I tell you, the time between Tuesday and Tuesday went like that. It really did. I was I was even caught off surprise. Well, but actually, as long as you're enjoying life, doesn't matter, does it?
It doesn't. It doesn't. And you're right. It certainly can sneak up on you. I mean, one day you're looking and it's Tuesday, and the next day it's Monday again, and you ask yourself, where did the time go?
Well, we're always asking each other, what is today? A short-term memory. But it's getting better.
Yeah.
It really is. It's all about our attitudes. All of life is about our attitudes. Is that not right?
It's absolutely correct.
Like I said, all these books up here, they all agree on one thing, that man is his attitudes. That's male, female. It's what are you thinking? See, because that's what you're being delivered into. It isn't falling into the past. You're being delivered into as you think you are, you do, you have, you be. And remember this, it it didn't say if you're religious or not. It doesn't, does it?
It does not.
No. You see, because actually religion was made up by man.
Yeah.
And so that means if man can make up a religion, then you can make up your own.
Absolutely.
That's what we're doing, isn't it?
It is.
And they themselves are makers of themselves. So you can actually take it easy and do it right, because you're given to do so. You're told to work out your own salvation. All you're doing is just becoming single-minded, right?
Absolutely.
That's it. Once you're single-minded, you're on the path. And as long as you stay there, you'll get there. Look, I've told some what I'm telling these people here exactly the same thing, and they went in leaps and bounds ahead of me. I mean, and I didn't expect that.
You made me think about Shakespeare, the 20 to be told, if I could tell 20 people what to do and not be one of the 20 to do what I told the other to do.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, we're here and we have a body.
Yeah.
And when you have this body, it demands things.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, it don't waste no time arguing with you about let's do it now.
Yeah.
See, if we would learn just to pay attention to what we're allowing ourselves to entertain as thought, and then ask yourself, is that what I really want? Is that what I want more of? No, then stop it. Turn around. Take a different channel. Do something different. Turn on the music, whatever, but change your mind. Otherwise, you'll be doing exactly what you don't want more of, right?
Absolutely. I like that you had conveyed the story about the person that, you shared some information with, and then they took the information and they ran with it. And that's our desire. Our desire for the listener is to take what it is that we're telling you, what we've discovered in our own lives, and go leaps and bounds beyond what it is that Neville's done, we've done, or anyone else has done, because it's there to do.
Yes. And Murphy told me it's in everybody. Everybody. You see, as I said, God is no respecter of persons. So if you're wanting a healing, you have it already. You have it, because were you not told it by Jesus' stripes you're healed?
Absolutely.
Well, he's had them for quite a while. And God did not give you the spirit of fear, the spirit of sickness. You learned these. They were learned. You understand? Learned. So you can unlearn them if you let them go and stop thinking about it, because it's as you think you are. It says it very clearly in scripture several times. As you think you are, you do, you have, you be. And it didn't say a religious person, right?
Absolutely.
See? So in other words, you can't get by saying, well, but I'm not religious. You couldn't be anything else.
Absolutely.
May not be practicing it.
Absolutely.
But
we all believe something. Yeah, we all believe something.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And actually that's what we're constantly telling you to do. Check on what it is you believe. Do you know what you believe? And I thought I did.
Yeah.
But once you start actually listening to what you're saying to yourself and figuring this is something I'm going to be experiencing.
Yeah.
And you're saying, well, no, I don't want to do that. Well, then stop thinking it, because that's the railroad that takes all your thoughts right up to the station. Attitude. Montaigne tells us, imagine. Neville Goddard tells us, imagine. Joseph Murphy tells us, imagine. On and on down. In the back of one of my books, there's a list that long of all the people that are saying
imagine
exactly that. Imagine. Well, and people say, well, that's just imaginary. Well, all of this is just imaginary.
Absolutely.
It all had to start here. Somebody imagined it. So why not you? You have an imagination. I mean, you wouldn't be listening to this if you didn't have an imagination. You wouldn't even exist.
Yeah.
Because God is the imagination. You're using the power of God. He told you, choose this day. He gave you the power to choose this day. And you're doing so, whether you're aware you're doing so or not. And Mr. DeCarlo will tell you over and over and over, think about it.
Yeah. You're talking about the imagination, and you stated earlier about Dr. Joseph Murphy saying it's in all of us. And that's the thing. We want everyone to understand that you got this. This is in you. And we talk about, you said it earlier, you kind of said, the person says, oh, it's only imagination. But the thing about the most successful people in the world that they understand is that it's only imagination, and they use it.
That's the difference that makes a difference. And if it doesn't make a difference to you, then you're not hungry to know first person. And people actually, they claim to have no ambition, but you just have to wake it up.
Yeah.
You see, it's a self in self and risen drama. So the only way you get lifted up is as you lift yourself up. And he's telling you, like you said, blessed is the man that does not condemn himself for what he has allowed. So in other words, start right now. This is a new start. Immediately, right here, right now. you are forgiven. You are forgiven by that statement. And if you believe it, you'll move on. If you don't, you'll keep denying yourself. And we are told that all denial is self-denial. God's not denying you anything. He told you ask, that you receive not because you ask not. What are you asking? That's what you want to ask yourself. What am I asking? Because that's what I'm going to be experiencing, right?
Absolutely. I love that you told the listener, you said, blessed is the man, woman, who does not condemn themselves for that which they've allowed. And if they take hold of that statement, they can be forgiven right now and they can start anew or start over right now if they can grasp that. And that's such a wonderful thing that they can start over right now,
Yeah.
stop condemning themselves.
Well, that's what it tells you, doesn't it?
It does.
Now is the appointed hour.
Yeah.
So, and everybody's here. Now is the appointed hour. For what? For desired change. I mean, we know there's going to be change.
Yeah.
That's what this is, a world of ideas, attitudes, and change. But if you'll change your attitudes in accordance to your desires, you'll just float right through. You see, the problems that you're having are ones you made up. You put them out there. You put that vibration out there, and that vibration will go until it finds another vibration, or that you cancel it. And if you don't cancel it, it'll go forever until it finds a like vibration.
Correct. Correct. And that's scriptural. You know, Jesus says you clean a house, and when you clean that house, if you're not careful, the spirit that you got rid of will come back with friends. And you also said something that was important. You have to cancel it. And canceling is changing that thought, revising that thought. When you change the thought, because you can only think one thought at a time. So you can either think on lovely and good report, or you can think on its opposite.
That's where we're all at.
Yeah.
You were given choice to choose. So it would be God's assumption that if he gave you choice and gave you the power to fulfill that choice, you'd be happy. Mm-hmm. But you are filling a choice that you've made regardless.
Yeah.
So in other words, you're doing so all the time because you do believe something.
Yeah.
And all the things you believe are things you were taught to believe. And now that you've hit the age of reasoning or beyond, it's right there in front of you. Really, it is you right in front of you. You're looking at yourself, self in, self and risen. And if you're not raising yourself up, what are you doing? You're putting yourself down because you're either setting yourself up or setting yourself free. Isn't that right?
Absolutely.
Why would you do anything else? Worshiping God, we're told, is using his gifts. So you already have them. Search them out. You're told, seek and you shall find. Well, what would you be what would you be seeking? Happiness. Well, what makes you happy? See, do you know what makes you happy? Then do that. Do something in favor of yourself. Believe me, you got to be on your own side.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, you asked the question, you know, what makes you happy? And the thing is, many times because of indoctrination or because the way we've been taught, trained, we think that it's selfish to think about doing what makes you happy. And we think it's more productive to be in something that makes you miserable.
Yeah, I like I like the one they printed, happy hour. A little wine for your stomach's sake and your many infirmities. I had lots of infirmities. If you can't laugh about it, forget it. Well, you know, the thing of it is that everyone is about setting themselves free or setting themselves into bondage. Now, you know, if you just sit and think about that for a while, that every word must be accounted for. You see, because the word was with God and the word was God. So that's who you're talking to when you're talking to yourself, because he is with you always. He will never leave you. Omnipresent. These are the things you sit and think about, isn't it?
It is.
And when you do, you see what you're holding in thought draws to itself like matter, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
So if you're choosing the thought you're thinking, and that's all we're here to do, we're here to direct our conversations, because we're told that if a man would order his conversations aright, he'd be shown salvation. And isn't that what everyone's looking for?
Absolutely.
Whatever you call it,
Yeah.
the good
Absolutely.
life.
Yeah.
You know, being alive is really not enough. It really isn't.
It ain't.
No. Look at all the people suffering. See, they're not enjoying life. As a matter of fact, suicide rate goes up because people just can't stand it anymore. And yet, within them is everything they need to change their mind, change their world. Is that not true?
Absolutely. Goes back to our topic. You got this. You know, I want to touch on what you said about God being his word. If such is the case that God is his word and we're held accountable for every idle word, then it also holds true that we are our word.
That's right. That's right. Jesus himself said, I of myself can do nothing. It is the Father within who does all the work. All I do is just ask him. Thank you, Father. It was really very simple. And the only time he really made a message long enough for the people to understand that they must believe what they're saying, because otherwise you always get what you expect, right?
Absolutely.
Well, what do you expect? I mean, just ask yourself, what do I expect when I'm going to go to church? What am I expecting? See, because that's what you get. And if people were honest with themselves, half of them wouldn't even go, because they're not expecting what they're asking for. And you can tell it. You can look at their faces, and you can tell they're not expecting anything good.